And did you do, because you had an American show, didn't you?
Yeah, but it was sort of taken out of our hands.
What?
Well, basically, they offered us to do an American show on Comedy Central, and by that stage, I was at the Beeb, and I just said, no, why would I do that? Like, I've moved on from Trigger Happy, and then they offered me quite an insane amount of money. I said, okay, I can see why I would do that. But
you started on Channel 4, went to BBC. Is that, yeah.
And the BBC was like the experimental period where I'd sort of finished with Trigger. Are we filming?
We're going.
Oh, we're off.
Yeah,
okay, great. Yeah. That's great. So I don't know if it was Sam's fault, who's actually here, but Sam or me, but we kind of always saw it as like we were in a band, and all the cool bands we knew did their first album, and it was like a breakout, which ours was, and then you made the difficult second album, and then for whatever reason, you'd normally split up, drugs, like not getting on, musical differences, and that was it. So Trigger Happy was always like, right, we've made pretty much one perfect album and a second really good album. Then we did a 12-inch single, the Christmas specials, and we thought that's it. And then the BBC, I went to the River Cafe for lunch with Alan Yentob, which is about as media as it can get.
Yeah.
And as I'm sitting there, he takes a phone call from Mick Jagger. Yeah. And I'm just sitting there going, yeah, totally cool. He'll probably ring me later.
Yeah.
And then we go to the BBC, and I'm just desperately saying, no, Trigger Happy's over. I'm now going to do different stuff. And we end up doing this. They're so keen. However much what you want to do, I had a lot of these ideas for experimental shows. They said, look, BBC Three is about to be launched, and we'd love you to be part of that. And I go, yeah, I'd love to as well. And I just thought, well, what happens when you have a big hit and you go to the BBC? You normally get a bit of an ego, and you have your own chat show. And so I thought, well, I'll have a chat show.
Yeah, nice.
But I'll obviously, I was very into Larry Sanders and all that kind of stuff, and I'll take the piss. And I remember my wife, who's much smarter than me, saying, you have to call it like this is Dom Joly or something. You can't just say this is Dom Joly. I go, no, people will realise that you're taking the piss.
Yeah.
And so I had a whole chat show where I went on, and the idea was I was an arsehole. And I remember people, the idea was 80%, I wanted 80% of people to go, oh, this is clever, and 20% who'd never understand, think, oh, this is shit. Actually, it was about 99% thought, this guy's an arsehole. But I mean, we had a lot of fun. So yeah, it went completely pear-shaped, the whole thing.
How many series of that did you do?
We did 2. I mean, unbelievable.
And did that change the perception of you? Was it sort of different, like...
Yeah, so it changed the perception of me in so many ways, because obviously one of the joys of Trigger Happy was, in Channel 4, no one knew who we were anywhere. We were cult. I mean, no one, even Channel 4 didn't know who we were.
No, I remember it coming out.
Yeah, they would just go off and gave us some money and said, go and make this show. And we handed it in. And suddenly it goes out on Friday night between Friends and Frasier. And it became massive. But it was massive in a sort of Channel 4 way. Mm-hmm. But for me and Sam, that was huge. Like, it was insane. And we had posters of me around town and all that was great. And we got bigger and bigger. And so really... if we're keeping it to a musical level, we'd got to a sort of a good, a really good indie band release album, yeah?
Yeah, who would you be, I suppose?
Well, I was trying to think, who would we be? I love The Cure, but we were nowhere near as cool as The Cure. It's Psychedelic Furs, which probably dates me a lot, but it
was a massive show.
Yeah, but it was massive. Yeah. But I now realise... it was massive in lots of different weird ways. It was massive in that I'd say 90% of people who knew about Trigger Happy had never seen it, but they'd seen the big mobile bit, which was the bit that I kind of wasn't what the show was about. The show was about me, having a massive nervous breakdown dressed as a squirrel with Jacques Brel on top.
Yeah.
And actually most people go, hello! That was it.
Really? Yeah.
And so when I went to the BBC... suddenly I'm like, oh, the hello guy's gone to the BBC. And the BBC wanted the hello guy. And I wanted, in a funny way, Trigger Happy should have been BBC. Like, if Trigger Happy had gone out on BBC Three, that would have killed. And then I could have gone and done a more experimental, darker material on Channel 4, but it went the other way around.
Yeah. So what more experimental stuff did you want to do that you didn't get to, do you think?
Well, I mean, experimental makes it sound poncy. I mean, the whole of This Is Dom Joly. Well, okay, so when we finished Trigger Happy at Channel 4, Channel 4 knew that we were being courted by other people. And they said, oh, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to make this weird chat show. And this was weirder than the one I went to make. It got watered down at the BBC, but we made a pilot for Channel 4, and it was called Dead Air with Dom Joly, and the whole thing was the same idea. Like, Trig Happy's big. This guy wants a chat show. No one can say no to him, and it started off with me walking on to this really like plush stage. Singing, because that immediately I'm a singer. Like I want to sing an opening song. No one's going to stop me. And I was singing, and sympathy is what we need, my friends. And then suddenly a studio light comes down, knocks me unconscious. It goes black, and then the rest of the show is me with a bandage around my head, clearly concussed, but no one's saying no. And we interviewed Melanie Blatt from All Saints. We had The Cure played live.
Right.
Like, we had all this stuff going on, and that was a non-broadcast pilot. And and then we had a little box within the screen where you could see my inner thoughts. It was so gone at that stage. It was terrible. Yeah. So I hadn't really thought it through.
And then what? So Comedy Central came in and said, "Do you want to just do it again?"
No, so then I made that show I made the experimental Dead Air with the BBC called This Is Dom Joly, and that was watered down and it was confused. But meanwhile, Trigger Happy had gone around the world, and I sold it to 80 countries, but I hadn't sold it to America. MTV wanted it, but a big part of Trigger Happy was the music. You know, I'd edited it to the music, and suddenly we're like, fuck, you got to change all the music. You got to have an international soundtrack. And so I said, no, I didn't care about anywhere else, but I thought in America, it has to go out with the right music or not, because it's edited like that. And MTV wanted it. I said, no. Someone else wanted it. I said, no. And then finally, by the time we got to the BBC, I thought, well, you know what? Trigger Happy's gone. Might as well put it out there. And so Comedy Central took it with an international soundtrack, which is a polite way of just saying lift music. It was awful. And suddenly we get this call saying, oh, we love it. It's done really well. Can we make an American version of it? Would you guys, you and Sam, like to come out and exec produce it and do some cameos? So obviously we're thinking, well, of course we're going to fly to Miami and New York because you're flying us. But so we go out there, we film a couple of things just to kind of test the waters. And then we're thinking, okay, this is interesting. Maybe we can make this work. We're going to have to really think about this and stuff. And the guy goes, you must be excited. I go, why? And he goes, well, first show tomorrow night. And I go, what? And he goes, first show's going out on Comedy Central tomorrow night. I go, what do you mean first show? We've literally just turned up here. We've filmed a couple of things. We were then going to think about it. Then we were going to exec produce it, be in the edit. And they'd filmed all this stuff without us knowing.
No way. Well, how can they film without you?
I don't, because I'm an idiot. Like, I just had no idea. But no one tells you this.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you could blame an agent at that stage.
What, they
I don't
had
know.
someone else doing it? Or what?
Oh, no. I knew they had other people. Because I said, we're at the BBC.
Yeah, sure.
I said, we're at the BBC. And they said, well, what if we get 4 like-minded people? And they'll do stuff. But you'll exec it and you'll be able to talk them through it and you'll edit it and you'll do some cameos. And I thought, that's great. So we went out, I thought, just to film some initial bits. And then we would meet the other guys and suddenly it was like, what do you mean you made it? And then I remember sitting in a hotel in New York watching this first show, the American version, go out. And it was like someone took a lot of acid and then thought, let's just try and make a Trigger Happy. It was kind of, it had fluffy costumes. It had a random indie music drop. It was slow mode occasionally. It was so bad. We took our names off it and said we don't want anything to do with it. I mean, the good thing about it is that I think it made people realize how difficult it was to make a good Trigger Happy because it was so bad. But our names were on it. Oh, it was awful. It was just, I just know nothing.
And how many seasons did they do of it over there?
They did 2 of those.
Yeah.
And I begged them not to do a second one.
Yeah.
It was just fucking awful. But it just made me realise that, I mean, our whole deal, when I say it's like me and Sam, who happens to be sitting there, like, the whole deal was just about, we were just so lucky. Like, we just fell into this thing. We were doing this thing that we thought was really good, and it was good, and it did well. And then suddenly it just explodes. And there were no rules for it because hidden camera didn't really exist. Like now you'd have a YouTube manager and I don't know, someone would say, look, here's what we can do next with this. And we were just rolling with it, just sort of having fun. Like, it was like signing that first record deal and then you're making it and you suddenly think, what the fuck was that, as you're excreted from show business?
Yeah, really? Did you feel that happened?
Yeah.
Really? What?
No, there was a specific moment where I realised it had happened. So I did the 2 spoof. So I had a 3-series deal at the BBC and we did 2 So we started off this. So we had. So when we left, one of the things I wanted to do at Channel 4 before we left, I said I want to do a thing called 100 Things to Do Before We Die, but it needs to be done by an idiot. Like not the usual. Let's go parasailing. It was like. Close the fridge, lock yourself in a fridge and see if the light goes out, out, and then there's The Cure playing in there. We were going to really play with it. Go and track down your school bully and tease him. We were going to do a lot of really shoot fish in a barrel, literally. We were going to do that sort of stuff. And we pitched that at Channel 4, and they said, "Oh, it's interesting, but we'd really like some more trigger happy." And that was the moment I thought, okay, I'm going to the BBC. So when I got to the BBC, first thing we got it commissioned by BBC Two was Dom Joly's 100 Things to Do Before You Die. And we're like 4 weeks into filming it. We'd filmed some quite weird, fun stuff. In hindsight, it was never going to work. It was too weird. And suddenly I opened The Guardian, and the people that looked after us, the people that were running Channel 4 when we were there, had moved to Channel 5. And I look at Channel 5's autumn schedule, and there is 101 Things to Do Before You Die. And they just fucking nicked it.
Really?
And it was coming out before ours. And so I just said, so I pulled it. And I said, look, we can't do this because this is
Did you lose all the money, though, from doing that?
So I didn't have to, but I did give the money back. But not only that, but from then on, BBC thought these people are twats.
Do you not think I'll make it better than them and just put it out?
Well, in hindsight, of course I should have done that.
Yeah.
But you're just panicking. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I still don't have a clue what I'm doing. You're just trying to do stuff that makes you laugh. And suddenly we went from punky, weird outsiders to like we were the establishment. We were the new big comedy people. And we didn't know what the fuck we were doing.
Yeah. And I remember when
This all got very depressing.
No, it's good.
I just want to weep, Red.
Was there a moment where you're like, oh, somebody, you'd phone a number and you go, they used to answer a lot quicker than they do now?
Oh, my God. I mean, that's happened so often. I mean, that's happened in waves all the way. Like, you do realise, because, I've never been someone that, like, collects famous people, or I'm not. I mean, I like it. I love meeting famous people, but I always meet famous people as a non-famous person. Like I'm just sitting there almost as a journalist. Like and so I used to write for the Indie, and I'd be invited to weird David Cameron dinner parties and stuff like that. And I would just write about it.
What's he like, Cameron?
I mean, in hindsight now, a political genius, looking at the twats we've had since, but just sort of like a wet fish, really. I went to a thing. I got invited to Jeremy Clarkson's 50th. Was it his 50th? That
sounds fun.
But it wasn't fun. It was like a Nazi rally. But before that, about a year before, I got invited to Jeremy Clarkson's house. And I thought, do I like Jeremy Clarkson? I don't know. I do. I like the fact that he doesn't give a shit. I had vague feelings he might be a little bit more right-wing than me, but it didn't matter. Anyway, he invites me and my wife, because we live nearby in the country, and he collects people. He's like Jonathan Ross. Okay, he just collects people. And he invited us for a dinner at his place. So we turn up and we get there, and I'm wandering around. I suddenly think, that's fucking David Cameron. This is just before David Cameron becomes Prime Minister, but he's the coming man. And I go, that's fucking David Cameron. And then I look, there's George Osborne. I'm like, I think I'm in the wrong place here. And so I walk in, and it's a buffet, so we get my food, and I go, and there's a table, and David Cameron's just sat down. So I think, fuck it. I sit down next to David Cameron, and I can see David Cameron looking, going, oh, Jesus, this is not the guy I want.
What he thinks you're going to do?
I don't know what he thinks.
The phone's coming.
Well, he thinks, at the worst, he thinks the phone's coming, but he just knows that this is not, if you're an expectant Prime Minister, this is probably an extra risk you don't need.
Yes,
and meanwhile, the whole point of going to these Cotswold dinner parties, I think, is that, I don't know, no one's told me the rules, but I think it's, whatever happens here, off the record, But I'm like, fuck, it's David Cameron. So I'm like, I got the phone and stuff. And then there's a moment, I'm asking him, like, you must be writing a diary, right? And he goes, what? And I go, you must be writing a diary, because when this all goes tits up, you're going to sell that, right? And he looks he looks like I'm being recording him, and I'm not. It's just a genuinely interested question like that. And then as I'm talking to him, Clarkson turns out, who's pissed, from the kitchen, and for some reason he's holding a gold AK-47. I don't think it's a real one, but he's holding a gold AK-47. And I'm sitting there, and next to me is the editor of The Independent, and then there's another journo, and and Cameron's just talking, like completely unaware, and Clarkson comes in, and just puts the AK-47 to the back of Cameron's head as a joke. Yeah. And I can feel all three of us just trying to get the phone out, thinking, if I can get this photo, I can retire. And of course, then it's gone like that.
Of
but
course.
The whole thing was very
his
weird.
security not there, Cameron? Well, there must have been no...
I think he had less security than, because he wasn't PM at that stage. But also, you're in Clarkson's house.
Yeah, you'd think...
Yeah, you're right. Actually, someone should have taken him down.
Well,
but I think the security are more worried about me than Clarkson with the gold AK-47.
Well, Clarkson's probably trusted. He's in the.
He's in the.
They call them the chipping snorting. What's it?
The chipping snorting set.
Yeah,
actually, I just made that up. Well, you just made that up. But
no,
there was
I've
the
heard
chipping
that before.
Chipping. Well, actually, Marina Hyde called it better. The Arserati. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, because it's
Rebecca.
It
was exactly that. So there was So I used to hang out with Alex James from Blur.
Yeah, he makes cheese now.
Yeah, and do you know what? So I'm a massive Blur fan, right? I mean, a massive Blur fan. Always Blur and Oasis. That guy wrote a fucking biography, an autobiography on his time in Blur. And I meet him, and he goes, I've just written the book. It's a tell-all. And I go, have you come up with a name for it? He goes, no. And I'm like, bit of a Blur?
Yeah,
and he goes, I'll have that. Did he thank me? Fuck him. No, he didn't. But it's true. Yeah. So I used to hang out with... I mean, I'm a sort of politics nerd in that I like hanging out with politicians because I'm fascinated with...
Well, you started there, didn't you?
Yeah, but never as a politician, as a journalist.
Yeah, of course.
I like watching those people, like, behind the scenes, like, what's it like? I'm nosy. And yet I wasn't really hanging out with Rebecca Wade, or Ross Kemp was a weird addition there as well. He was
we just throw Grant Mitchell in.
Well, no, because he was married to Rebecca Wade.
And she... beat him up one night.
Apparently.
There was a whole thing.
There's a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I've golfed... Oh, I can't say this.
The old rumours that she caught him shagging Sol Campbell. I think I've just made that up, but something happened.
I can't say this, but
okay,
I'm going
please
to.
Do.
I was golfing with Ross Kemp in... Oh, I love this story so much. Have I told this story? I can't remember.
Tell it again.
I love Ross. I really do. Like, he's a decent guy, but we were golfing... I was invited, so I was at this weird stage where I'd just be asked on these things that I didn't belong, and people would invite me, think, it's Dom Joly, way, hello.
Yeah.
And then you'd get there, and you'd sort of realise there were a type of people that they all understood the rules of these things, like you didn't tell anything that happened, and no one ever told me these rules.
Yeah.
So I would I'd either be live streaming or I'd be like writing a column about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I end up on a trip to California with the then editor of The Independent, Jimmy Nesbitt, the guy that was Toby in The West Wing. It gets so confusing. Mickey Rourke was there at some stage. And anyway, we all end up, long story short, I'm name dropping because it's so insane.
No, of course.
Oh, fucking hell, Ross Kemp's at my house and he's angry.
Is that DoorDash?
It's not DoorDash. That's my ring bell, and Ross Kemp's there with a shotgun.
Yeah, he's fuming.
Anyway, so we get there. Long story short, I can't tell you all the stories, but we end up, like, we played Pebble Beach, all these, I can't play golf, not interested in golf. Mm-hmm. We end up in LA. And someone we know, or I don't know, someone else knows, says, guys, you're all in LA. We're going to organise a big, like, dinner for you guys at some posh hotel. So we're there. Jimmy Nesbitt's there. Journalists are there. It's me. Mickey Rourke wanders in, who looks like a sort of melted candle.
Yeah.
And he sits in the corner. I'm just like, this is peak LA. Like, I'm not in the LA scene at all. And then suddenly we get a message. Ross Kemp has not been with us on the trip, but he is in LA. He's filming his Gangs Of thing, which I have to say, Ross can be a little bit panto, but fair play to him. The guy's, gone out there and been shot at. Like, those things are amazing. And he sends us a thing. He goes, I just heard you guys are in LA. I'm filming Gangs Of, East LA, and I'll be finished in an hour. Where are you? So someone sends him a thing saying, well, come to this dinner. And so an hour later, Ross Kemp wanders in, and we're all quite gone at this stage. And everyone's sort of thinking, I don't want to sit next to Ross. He's going to be quite intense. And I end up sitting opposite Ross Kemp. And he's just staring at me like that. And when someone sort of looks at you in that sort of way of saying, I've seen terrible things, you got to ask me. And I don't want to ask him. I don't want to know. Like
so that he's been doing that all day. And so he's obviously...
Well, he just wants someone to say, you okay? And I'm just not going to do it.
No.
And finally, I just go, all right, fuck it. I go, Ross, are you okay? He goes, not really, man. I go, oh, why? He goes, I've seen terrible things. And I go, all right, why is that? He goes, it's just weird. He goes, like an hour ago, I was like in just an area you'd never go to, man. And I've been filming with this guy, and he showed me this tape, and it was just a guy in a suit looking totally normal, just puts a gun in his mouth and blows his head off, just kills himself like that. And it just fucks you up, and then suddenly, like an hour later, I'm here with you guys, and we're in LA, and we're having this big meal, and it's normal and stuff, and it's just fucking weird. And there's this weird pause, and suddenly from the end of the table, Jimmy Nesbitt goes, well, stick to fucking panto, you cunt. It was just...
That's funny.
So yeah, it was just weird. I've spent 10 years. I spent 10 years after Trigger Happy in this weird celeb wilderness. But it wasn't even like I was off like on the made millions of quid, and I was off having a sort of shallow sex and drugs experience. It wasn't. I just sort of went off on a sort of observer thing. I just got invited on all these things.
Yeah, and thought, why not go along? That'd be interesting.
Yeah, because I can't say no to anything. And then I would just end up writing about it, and a lot of it is in my books and stuff. So I kind of shot myself from both ends, so to speak, which sounds like a different story, but...
Yeah. And so when did you? Because it was.
When did you come to surface?
When did you know? Because the tour. Wait, because you've done a tour already.
This will all happen to you, by the way, Ray.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you right now.
This is why I'm asking.
I mean, you should know because you married into comedy royalty and stuff.
Yeah. No, I'm aware of what happens.
I'm just trying because no one fucking told me.
Yeah.
No one told me.
Yeah.
I remember being taken around Alex James's. Alex bought a farm in the Cotswolds. And he hadn't quite got to his cheese yet at that stage, I think. And he said, "Yeah, nice. I've got like all these barn. Do you want to go look around?" No, I didn't want to look around, but you just do because he's in Blur. And so you follow him around. And I remember him taking me through a barn, and we went in, and there were just 4 dead sheep lying on the floor. And I was like, oh. And I remember him going, oh, those shouldn't be there. And I just thought, yeah, that's what I'd do, really. I mean, I wouldn't because I love animals, but I just wouldn't, I don't know.
Well, you just buy a big. He's got a big farm that he doesn't really know what he's doing with.
Yeah. I got a big farm, but I had a non-working farm. I think that's the first rule. That's the first rule.
Non-working farm.
If you're going to get a farm...
Is that where you're living now?
No, I lost the farm.
Okay.
Yeah, it got closed down. No, I live in Cheltenham.
Yeah. Well,
you know that because you came on my speakeasy. Yeah.
I saw afterwards. I saw on your Instagram about a week after that. You went to this place. I actually Wikipedia.
Do you follow me on Instagram?
Yeah, of course I do.
Do you?
Yeah. It was a place where I think there's no cars on the island. It was in Africa, off Africa.
Oh, yeah.
What were you doing there?
I mean,
what the hell was going on?
Well, I was on holiday.
Yeah.
I was so.
There's no alcohol on that island.
So I went to an island called Lamu.
Yep.
And Lamu is a Muslim island, technically off the coast of Somalia, but it is owned by Kenya.
How did you feel getting a boat out there then?
Well, I feel great because, I mean, I grew up in Beirut, so that's literally my dream holiday.
You went to school with Osama bin Laden, the same school as him, not at the same time.
That's my Magaluf at the same time.
Oh, at the same time?
Oh, yeah.
So you were 5 and he was...
I was 6, he was 18. But come on, I've told this story too many times.
I know, but it's intriguing.
Yeah, it is intriguing. But my first travel book was The Dark Tourist. I went to North Korea, I went skiing.
I know, so I wouldn't talk about North Korea. What was North Korea like?
Fuck, it's amazing. But we're getting to Lamu first.
Okay, Lamu first.
So most people... So Lamu, in the old days, when Somalia wasn't a sort of terrorist hideout, like Lamu was the ultimate... So basically, if you're an Arab slave trader back in the day, and you're coming for the slave trade in Africa, you're coming down from the Saudi Arabian Peninsula, you've got these islands, Zanzibar, Lamu, that's where they set up their base, and then basically they'd send people into Africa, get the slaves, and that would be where it was a sort of harbour for sending slaves off. And so these places were incredible, and that's why they're Islamic islands now. So Lamu then became very dodgy because Somalia became a big deal recently, and Somali pirates thought, we're not just going to be pirates, let's be kidnappers. So they went and took tourists off the beaches. So to be fair, it's a difficult sell as a holiday for most people, but for me, dream holiday.
Yeah.
So I went to Lamu. I flew to Nairobi, and then you take a little plane to Lamu. And Lamu is the most incredible place in the world, and it's full of weird people. Like Isabella Gianni's got a house there. Sienna Miller's got a house there.
Who's Isabella Gianni?
Oh, God, you showed your age there. She was my heartthrob. She was a French actress in the 80s, so that's why you wouldn't know.
Okay, what, Sienna, who has it?
Sienna Miller. Do you know her?
What's she doing out there?
Charlotte Tilbury.
Yeah, who's she again?
I don't know. She's a makeup woman or
makeup,
something.
yeah, that's the one.
Makeup,
What's Sienna Miller doing at this? There's no booze there at all.
No, of course there's booze.
Okay, so you're in
it's
the
like,
hotel.
No, but it's like all these places. It's like Morocco. Like, I mean, you know, when I went that time, you saw me on Instagram. It was Ramadan, but of course there's booze. I mean, a lot of people drink, so no, there's lots of booze. I mean, you can't. It's not Magaluf. You can't wander down in an England shirt.
So I couldn't piss against the wall, drink your beer.
You could probably piss against the wall, but you're not drinking a beer. No.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends what kind of holiday you're looking for.
Yeah.
But Lamu is probably one of my favourite places I've been to. I'm going back in January. I love it. It's amazing.
How many times have you been?
Well, once. That was my first time.
Okay, sorry,
but I've wanted to go there since. I mean, I've known about it because it's kind of been it had weird periods where it suddenly became very Condé Nasty, or it is the most incredible. It's got dhows and it looks beautiful, and it's kind of like a sort of another Africa. Like, it's very weird place, and it's full of kind of posh aristos who are either
good food.
Yeah, food's insane.
What sort of food is it?
Oh my god! So it's kind of it's a hybrid. But the best thing I had was meatballs with a sour mango sauce. It's kind of like Swahili. It's kind of East African Arabian rimming.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Fusion.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
not rimming.
Sure, yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. No, really good. Incredible curries. Incredible, like the Mossaman curry. You know what a Mossaman curry is?
Yeah.
You know what that means?
No.
It's an abbreviation because Brits couldn't pronounce it, of a Muslim curry, because it's beef and potato, whereas most of those curries are lamb. And so that's what it is. And that's where that comes from.
Okay,
Muslim
nice.
curry. So it's amazing.
Okay, and in North Korea, give us what's that like?
North Korea is the closest thing I think you'll ever get, unless you're Katy Perry, to going to space. Because I think, one of my weird things about travel, you know, I grew up in Beirut, where the people I really admired were like foreign correspondents, travel writers.
And was that your dad was in the army, wasn't he?
No, not at all. Well, he was in the Fleet Air Arm in World War II. But
Yeah,
that was nothing
okay,
to do with it.
yeah.
You've done no research. I love that. I did more research for you. No, he wasn't. No, we'd been there for 3 generations as a British family, but it's too complicated. But growing up, those are the people I loved. They were like the mythological people. And so I always thought, I want to be a foreign correspondent, I want to be a travel writer. And I have been both. But when I wrote my first book, I just thought all the things that people write about are places, I don't know, that sound amazing. Whereas for me, I like going to places that sound terrible. And I think there's, like Lebanon, like most people don't think about going to Lebanon for a holiday, but you fucking should, because it's the most beautiful country on earth. You can ski in an hour, you can go to the beach in an hour. It's like south of France, the food is incredible. And I thought, I wonder what other places are like that. Now, having said that, North Korea is not like that.
No, okay.
It's as shit as I thought. But I did think, I wanted to go, I thought travel in the old days was a way of going somewhere and like making you sort of find your comfort level, like getting out of your comfort zone. And when you used to travel, that used to be tricky. And travel's become more and more homogenized. Like everywhere you go, there's a Starbucks 100 meters away. So it's very difficult now to find a place to go that really is like a proper travel experience.
You like to travel, not holiday, I suppose, or is it the same thing as you?
Well, that is my holiday. I'm not a beach person, but I just want to go.
Christopher Hitchens always liked to go to one war-torn country a year or something.
Well, well, actually, yes. So my hero was not Christopher Hitchens, but a guy called PJ O'Rourke, who was Rolling Stone's foreign correspondent, and he went off to all these places. Yeah. And I love that. I think that's proper travel.
Interesting.
Unfortunately, those only places you can go to that are like that are either in the middle of a war or under a really severe dictatorship. So, you know, hence I went to Iran and I went to Chernobyl and I went to North Korea. But North Korea is genuinely the closest you come to going to outer space. It's insane.
So what do you explain? Because I saw a video the other day of someone going along the border. There's a river next to it and there's just barbed wire all around it. It was sort of...
so there's 2 borders. I mean, one of the first things you should know about North Korea, if you look at a satellite picture of the Korean peninsula at night...
It's black.
South Korea is just... It's like a fucking neon zone.
I read the Nothing to Envy book.
Yeah. And North Korea is just black.
Yeah.
So there are 2 borders. There's the one you've all seen, which is the zone between it's a demilitarized zone between South Korea and North Korea, and there's a hut in the middle where literally it's insane. They get both sides. North Koreans are not tall people, but they find the tallest people in both Koreas to stand right face to face to each other over this cement demarcation. And if you ever have to chat, they go into a hut from both sides, and there's a table which fills the whole thing, so you can't jump over the table. Well, you probably could, and they talk there. But it is, honestly, from the moment you land, and when you land in Pyongyang, the first thing you see is a picture of the dear leader, like 50 times the size of any poster you've ever seen. And all the way down the runway are soldiers standing with AK-47s. It's like a Bond film.
Yes.
It's the closest thing I can describe it. You know when you see the baddies in Bond films, old school Bond films, you'd have MI5 are in lovely wood panelled offices and everything's lovely. And then you go to the baddie, there's no carpets, it's just cold, and that's exactly what it is. North Korea feels like they've taken the colour palette out. Everything's just suddenly very beige. Everything's very grey. Even the architecture. I didn't understand how architecture could be part, you hear about brutalism, but how can architecture be part of totalitarianism? Till you go to North Korea and you realise that North Korea's thing is all about people together. It's all about the power of the commune. And as an individual, you're worthless, you're useless. They don't want individuals because they think. So when you go to North Korea, you go to these enormous squares, like squares 10 times bigger than Trafalgar Square, and the buildings and the statues are 3 times bigger than anything we have. So that wherever you stand in Pyongyang, as an individual, you feel dwarfed by your environment. It's a bit like being in a fjord in Norway. You suddenly think the majesty of fuck, I am insignificant. And that was the first time I realised that they've done that to make you feel like that.
Yeah.
And then what they do to counterbalance is every square you go to, there's 5,000 North Korean schoolgirls all doing some organised dance while one guy just standing on top of a van's just shouting at them. It's all about you're nothing if you're not together.
Okay,
that's the weird vibe about it. But there's so much weird shit.
How long did you spend there?
I spent 3 weeks and it's just the weirdest thing.
Were you on edge, paranoid at all?
No, because one of the weird things...
You didn't try and take a flag home as a souvenir like that guy.
Okay, so that guy, the guy that got done. So weirdly, I did feel safe because one of the things I found is that the more totalitarian, the more authoritarian a country you go to, the normally safer you are as a visitor, worst they'll do is shut you out. Now, that changed when that guy stole a flag and he got put into a show trial, in the end died. Also in Iran, I felt totally safe in Iran. Now they've started taking hostages just to use you as a pawn, and I'd be less safe now. But there's just so many weird things. They put you on an island in Pyongyang itself. There's one hotel you can stay at as a foreigner, and they put us in this hotel. There's 2 things on that island that you can wander to without having to go with a guide. One is a cinema, and I'm like, what the fuck's this? And the cinema had no film showing.
Nothing.
But they'd built it because I think Kim Jong-un's dad was a big cinema buff. So much so that he actually kidnapped his favourite Japanese film director from Japan and made him work for him for 6 years filming films. But and so he decided they were going to have an international North Korean film festival. So they built the cinema.
International.
Yeah. And then they realised, what films can we show that's okay? And they looked and looked and looked. And in the end, they chose the one film that wherever I've been in the world, it's always there. Fucking Mr. Bean. They showed...
That's so funny.
They showed Mr. Bean.
He's cracked it, that guy.
Yeah, he's so cracked it. Yeah. I've been on the Syrian border with people go, you are a journalist? I go, no, comedian. They go, comedian? I go... Mr. Bean. They go, here, Mr. Bean.
Oh, my God.
But anyway, they show Mr. Bean because it's the only film that the North Korean International Film Festival is
in a
not...
way, that's actually a bad thing for a comedian.
Yeah, I think so,
I think it is bad.
But not only that...
North Korea, you're
But the whole point about Mr. Bean is it's visual, right?
Yeah.
But just to make sure you don't get the wrong idea, they have a guy on the side with a loudhailer explaining to the audience what's going on the screen. So then I leave that and I go to the other thing on the island, which is North Korea's only golf course. And it's a 9-hole golf course. I think, great, I'll fire some balls at the other side of the river, like my bit of the revolution. And we get there and there's this glass case outside and there's a ball inside it on a cushion. And I go, what's that? And they go, oh, the dear leader came here 4 months ago and he'd never played a round of golf in his life. And guess what? I said, I wonder, did he get 9 holes in one? Yes, he did.
Yeah.
It's
that was
insane. And you're just looking around like going, come on,
Yeah.
really? And then you realise they're all like, yeah, and you go, and you think, fuck, I'm in the Moonies. I mean, it's crazy.
God, and he went to school in Switzerland, didn't he? Is
Yeah,
that
he did.
right? Yeah.
Well, that's Kim Jong-un.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Kim Jong, I can't remember which Kim Jong, but the middle Kim Jong.
Because there's been 3 now, isn't there?
Yeah. There was Kim Jong-il.
Was it 40s they got in?
There was Kim Jong-il who got ill and died, and then Kim Jong-un came in,
Yeah.
and then Kim Jong-sung, I can't remember. He started it all off in the. I mean, it's all in my book, but it's ages ago.
Yeah. God, that must have been. So I suppose, what you're saying about feeling safe is that if you stay within you obviously don't try and do anything.
Well, it's a very awkward thing of what I do because there's an element of poverty war tourism. If you're writing a book like Dark Tourist, you're going to these countries, you are getting a kick.
Yeah.
I have to accept, out of going to these extraordinarily weird places and looking, it's like stepping into a Tintin novel or something. You're like, this is insane. Like I'm stepping into a Bond film, but there's part of you thinking, I definitely feel for the people living under this shit, like going to Iran. But I'm also enjoying observing this thing that you wouldn't see.
And how do they seem? I suppose just they can't. The public.
North Koreans.
Yeah,
North Koreans, again, very different to any other place. I'd been to Russia under communism. I worked in the Czech Republic under communism. I've been to Syria, Congo. I've been to loads of places.
Don't fancy Magaluf then?
No, I've never been to Magaluf.
All inclusive.
Well, you
Try
never
it.
know. I'll try it. That is my idea of hell. That is my holidays in hell. Yeah, it would be that.
Yeah.
That and Ayia Napa or something.
Yeah,
I did go to Ibiza.
Yeah.
Fucking hated that. I was out there in 2 days. Whereas North Korea loved it.
Yeah,
Really did.
yeah.
But normally when you go to a place under a dictatorship, you're very closely watched and you get given like an approved guide. And that guide will make sure that, you go, oh, let's talk to these ordinary members of the public. And you just know that they work for the party and stuff. But often, almost in every other situation, when the guide wanders off and you happen to bump into someone at a restaurant, you can talk to them and you can have some, in the old days in Russia, everyone would be like, oh, yeah, no, I love Brezhnev. And then the moment they went, they go, do you have any Beatles records and blue jeans?
Okay.
North Korea is the only place I've been where I didn't find a single person off script. And also, when you think about it, I didn't see a single black person. I didn't see a single disabled person. It was very, very monotheist, the whole thing. It was crazy. But then, I've now read enough books. There are definitely people that are anti it. There are definitely people that get sent off to labor camps and try and swim across the river to China and stuff and get done. I mean, it's a deeply, deeply evil place.
Yeah.
But I didn't go there thinking, I'm just going to find this funny. I went there because I truly find that sort of place fascinating. And I think I wrote a really good,
well, someone's got to go and,
There's a long chapter in my book about it in Dark Tourist. And I think it's a great, I would say that, but I really think, I think you can still find those situations funny, but also talk about them seriously.
And do you go to bars and stuff out there? There's a big drinking culture, isn't there?
Again, not bars, because there aren't bars. So in the center of Pyongyang, Kim Jong-il got into pizzas. So he bought absolutely job lot, a whole Italian restaurant from Milan, flew the staff over, wooden pizzas, but no one else is allowed in there. So he goes and has that. In our hotel, they had bought an entire distillery from Burton-on-Trent. And everything had got, you know about Burton-on-Trent?
No. I know where it is, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's the home of British beer. And there's something in the Trent, in the river in Burton-on-Trent, that's known as the Burton Snatch, which is an unfortunate term.
Yeah.
But it's the mix of chemicals. And that's where they used to make IPA so that beers would last when it went off to the colonies and stuff. But so they literally just bought a whole brewery from Burton-on-Trent. So that's the only place I really drank in Korea. So no, there's not a big drinking culture. I mean, I'm sure they all make moonshine and get.
Well, in the Nothing to Envy book, there was a whole thing. One of the dads smuggled the family out. They went and up in Australia, and he basically never drank with anyone because he was terrified of what he'd say if he.
Of course,
if he would
I
listen
mean,
up.
you're terrified because if you're drinking somewhere, you're probably doing something illegal. But then the moment loose lips, I mean, Jesus, you're going to get done. There's something like 30% of the country are informers. That makes the Stasi look relaxed. But it's very difficult to talk about this without, because I'm really aware. I grew up in Lebanon. I can still go to Lebanon and I'm aware of the shit that Lebanon's in, but I can write about it in an interesting way. And that's what fascinates me.
Yeah,
much
yeah.
more than big mobile phones and squirrels, if I'm
Of
really honest with
course.
you.
But then that's...
But unfortunately...
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And do you get that shouted all the time? It must be hello still. Is that still...
So...
Are trains tough to go on?
Well, I mean, less so now, but
At the height of it, must have been hell.
I'm telling you, every single day since I made Trigger Happy, someone has shouted... they always shout hello, but they always shout, hello, I'm on the phone, which weirdly is something I never said. Never said I'm on the phone. It was always like, hello, I'm in the library, or...
that was it.
I
Yeah,
never said,
yeah,
but people come up to me on the phone, and then I find myself having arguments with people going, look, Muddy, yeah, I really appreciate that, you're doing that, but I never fucking said that. I go, yeah, you did. No, I fucking didn't. And then I'm arguing with some guy. I've had the weirdest week for that. So you think, this is 20... Because, Trigger Happy TV is 25 years old. I'm touring it. And I'm thinking 25 years on, will people remember it? And then suddenly, I've had the weirdest week in Cheltenham, ever. Mm-hmm. So I find out at the beginning of the week, you've been to Cheltenham, right? It's quite a posh place. We've not got Gales,
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what the fuck are you doing, Gales? Like, Gales was designed for a place like Cheltenham.
Sure.
And finally, the news comes in, beginning of the week, we're all very excited. We can now pay £14 for a coffee. Gales is coming to Cheltenham. So I'm thinking, that's good. Good for house prices. It means Cheltenham settled down. And then I had the weirdest week. So 3 days ago, I live on a square. Fuck it, I'm posh. Yeah. I live on a square, and I walk out with my 2 labs, I'm posh, into the square. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. And I'm walking around, and it's in the middle of the recent heat wave, and there's a bench in the middle of the square, and there's a guy sitting there in a full gabardine mac, a trilby, and he's holding Private Eye up in a way that no one reads a paper at all, yeah? So I look, and I think, come on, your ego's getting... I go, that looks like the fucking spy from Trigger Happy. I go, but come on, don't get egotistical, that's insane. And I look again, I go, no, that... He's literally wearing the blue shirt, the red thing. And as I'm walking around, he's going like this to me, and he hasn't got holes drilled in them. And I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing? So immediately, this is my whole weird life. Part of me is thinking, well, that's cool. Like, this guy's clearly a fan, and he's dressed up. And then I'm thinking, but this guy's outside my house, and he knows what time I'm taking my dogs for a walk, and that freaks me out. And I always have my phone when I go out, but for some reason that day I didn't have my phone. So I look at him and I go back into the house with the dogs. The moment I get in, I'm all casual. I close the door. I run upstairs, get my phone, run to the window, and he's already left the bench. So I know he's there for me, and he's walking towards his car. So I managed to film him in the street, film him in his car. And I think, what the fuck is going on? Do I go and speak to this guy or not? Am I being hidden cameraed? If so, it's not that funny because I spotted him. So then I'm thinking, well, I'm turning this into content. So I'm going, right, this is what's happened. I'm going to go outside, see what happens. I walk out of my house, and as I walk out, not sure what I'm going to do, I see a couple of friends, and they go, hey, Dom. So I'm chatting to them, and this guy's in his car, and he drives his car to nearer to me, and he's just staring out the windscreen. I go, this is fucking weird. So I just go, guys, I've got to go. And I walk off the other way, thinking, is he going to follow me? And then I sneak back round, and I peek my phone over the hedge, and I managed to get not only his number plate, but his face. Yeah, and I'm like, fuck, this is counter surveillance. And then I'm thinking, what am I doing here? This is insane. Guy drives off. So I post that up, and I think, who is this guy? And I get 50% of people going, oh, come on, he's just a fan. You should have invited him in. I go, he's outside my fucking house.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Anyway, since then, whoever you are, I don't know who he is. I don't know what that was about. I think it's a one-off. And then the next day, I'm sitting in my fucking kitchen. Suddenly, I hear in my house, hello, no. I'm in your house. I'm in your house. I go, what? And there's a guy shouting through my letterbox,
my God.
Hello, I'm in your house. So I lose it. I open the door and go, what the fuck are you doing? This guy's standing there.
Just a burglar.
No, he's dressed normal, but it's fucking 9 a.m. He's got a bottle of Prosecco and a champagne glass. So firstly, I'm disappointed. Prosecco, please.
Yeah.
Like, why not go the whole hog? And I go, what the fuck are you doing? He goes, what do you mean, what am I doing? Do you know how you made your living? I go, yeah. He goes, do you know how you made your living? So why is it not? I go, you're shouting in my fucking house. He goes, you did that to everyone else. I go, I never did. I asked for permission. Anyway, this just went on. So I've had the weirdest...
And how'd you get rid of him?
Luckily,
Yeah, you got to call the police
I
on this
got
guy.
quite angry because
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what, I can take a joke, that's absolutely fine. But I think when you're in my fucking house, that's taking the piss. He goes, oh, you don't like it? I'm going to do it again. So he starts coming up, and then a police car drives past. So I run out, and I'm thinking, someone's filming this. This is just going to look terrible. I stop the police car. Police get out. They're about 14 years old, yeah? So I'm trying to explain without sounding like a twat. I go, look, I know that you're going to think I'm delusional, but I was on a very big TV show, yeah? You can see him just going, no, not a clue.
Okay, yeah.
And I go, this bloke is shouting through my letterbox, hello, I'm in your house. And they go, why is he doing that? I go, because I used to have a big mobile, right? And I used to shout into that, hello. And you can see them turning from the guy shouting to me thinking, I think this is the problem.
The problem,
and they're starting to back away from me. And my wife's coming out going, no. He's telling the truth.
Yeah.
He was a comedian. I'm just like, what do you mean was a comedian? So we're having this massive... It's a nightmare.
And so what did the police end up doing to him?
So the police in the end, so then this guy had a little friend who was in a car with him, yeah? And the little friend screeched up in the car, and this guy tried to do a drunken runaway and get in the car and run away.
So he was pissed at 9 a.m.
He was so pissed, yeah. and then he couldn't, the guy stalled twice, so the police stopped him. So then they spent 20 minutes talking to both these people in the car while I'm at my door, and every time the policemen weren't looking, he'd go like this to me, yeah? And I was like, I fucking hate this. Like, what is going on? And in the end, the policeman came out and he said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I don't want to do anything, but what I don't want is this cunt turning up at my house every day, pissed, shouting to my thing. He goes, how about we have a community resolution? And I go, I'll be honest with you, that sounds shit, but what is it? And he goes, we're going to let him go with a warning. I go, what, in the car with the bottle of Prosecco? Yeah. That's your problem. He goes, he's not drunk. I go, he is. He goes, no, the driver's not drunk. I go, no, he's probably high on fucking meth. And this is Cheltenham. We're not talking about the Bronx. No. Anyway, I don't know why. But so in the end, the community resolution was that I would not press charges, because apparently there were no charges to press. And he would go away. And if he came back, he said, you should ring the police again. I go, that doesn't sound like a resolution.
No.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I don't think that guy was malicious.
How old is he?
He was old enough to know better, but a perfect age for trigger happy. He was like 36.
Yeah.
You know, quite well put together. I got a picture of him if you want. And he's,
great.
And
we'll put him in the notes.
Yeah, I'll put him in the notes. And so interestingly, even though he came to my door and sullied the sanctity of my household, you know, who gives a fuck? It's fine. I've been pissed. If I was pissed, and I've been pissed many times, and I walked past someone's house, in fact, having said this, I did a thing with Robert Llewellyn once, and we hung out. We hung outside Liz Hurley's house, so I've got no excuse. We got no excuse. I think The Spy is freakier because this guy, even though it was wrong, I understood. He's pissed.
Oh, so it's two different people then?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fine. It was the same guy coming
I've got
back.
one fucking stalker, buddy.
Jesus,
You think you're talking to, So I'm thinking my wife would be upset by this because she's on her own sometimes there, you know. And she goes, no, come on, he was pissed. I looked in his eyes. He was pissed, but not dangerous. Whereas the other guy, I can't work out why he's doing that.
Yeah. Is there any back? Because you didn't get to the bottom of either of them. They're not just, they're super fans, obviously. But
no, the second guy, I don't think even a super fan. I think literally just was driving past 9 a.m. He'd just necked his second bottle of Prosecco because it's Cheltenham. We don't drink Supertramp.
Yeah.
And I think, obviously, the driver probably said, you'll never guess who lives in there. And he goes, who? He goes, Dom Joly. He goes, hold the car. And he probably just went up to the door and went, oh, I'm in your house.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But from my point of view, I didn't know all that. I'm just hearing some...
And you've had the day before.
And I've had the day before, which is weird.
On high alert.
Yeah. I don't want to say my life's a constant like that, but
no.
I'm just saying I'm still relevant, right?
Yeah. And is that, do you think people, because I suppose with the show, like hidden camera stuff, have you had people trying to do that to you regularly before?
Well, firstly, this is what annoyed me about this guy was when I came out and remonstrated with him, he got really angry at me going, he sort of felt he had a right because he said, but this is how you made your living, which is a fair point to an extent. But although I did go to Liz Hurley's house, but that's another thing.
Yeah,
but
let's get to that in a minute.
Yeah, but I did ask for permission afterwards and stuff. And also, it was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
It can't be like, you're irrelevant and you haven't done a show for ages, but also stalk me. Like, I can't have both.
No, and the thing, because we like with stand-up, you get it, it's people who watch stand-up will come and go,
Oh, what do they do?
Well, no, they miss the jokes. They'll go,
Yeah.
you cunt, you fucking dick, you know.
What, in the street?
Not
or
like
on
that, but they think comedians talk to each other in this sort of way, and it's sort of true, but they miss out the jokes.
Banter.
Yeah. But there's jokes in there. So what they're missing out with the hidden camera stuff is that there's actually
a skill to it.
Skill and humour.
Well, there's skill, there's humour, and also there is concern. Like we never, you know, I didn't want to be Beatles about that. Trigger Happy was literally a reaction to just making people angry. It was about putting a weird bit of surrealism in people's day.
Yeah.
But we never showed anything that we didn't get someone to sign off.
And you weren't
afterwards.
harassing people.
What?
I never felt you were harassing people.
We probably were. I mean, you are harassing people.
The one on the gondola was great. Was the phone on the gondola? I always remember. Was it? No, where was that boat? You answered one on the boat.
Oh, that was in. Well,
was that Venice?
I lied actually in that because we went for a date. We went for 2 days in Bruges.
Yeah.
And I'm obsessed with Bruges because it's a really weird place and it's perfect for Trigger Happy because it's full of tourists looking for things to do.
Yeah.
And that's where we did I became a guide. They had horse-drawn carts around Bruges, so I just hopped in next to a guy. He'd agreed to let me do it. And a couple of Americans got on, and I said, "Hello, I am your guide for the day." Yeah. And I had just straw coming out my hat, like for no reason at all. And she goes, "Oh, how nice!" And then basically we hadn't thought through what we were going to do, and I just said to the guy, "Just drive around." They were supposed to go around the town, and I said, "Just drive round and round the fountain, just till they resist." And I'm just going, and up here, you can see a window. And if you look there, you can see 4 windows. And just there is the oldest window in all of Bruges. Have you seen the windows? And she was quiet for about 10 circumferences. And finally she goes, "Excuse me, will we just be going around the fountain?" I go, "Hello, I am talking to you about the windows." And she lost her shit slowly. That was beautiful.
Brilliant.
So we did lots of stuff in Bruges. And then I thought, we're here. We might as well do a mobile phone.
Yeah.
But because we were trying to get production depth, I thought, I can't say Bruges again. So I said, "Hello, I'm on a boat in Holland."
Oh,
we
that
weren't
was it.
actually,
Yeah.
And that was great. Yeah.
And did you ever get attacked or anything, or nearly?
Not attacked, because one of the things about doing hidden camera in Britain that you learn when you go to America is, like, in America, if I'd done the big mobile, which I did in New York, I did it on the subway, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Literally 40 people. "Shut the fuck up, buddy!"
Really?
You know, if I'm in Arkansas, just, that's it.
Well, yeah.
Whereas in England...
Clarkson couldn't do the gun. No.
Whereas in England, the whole, our whole thing of being British is just, as long as I'm not going to be stabbed, just please leave me alone. People don't want to be pointed out in a show.
What is
so
it?
actually, by doing this thing, like saying, "Hello, everybody, I'm Aaron from the Guardian Angels," or, it's Sam and I used to call it the bank robber syndrome, because it is what bank robbers do. There's a psychology. When you come into a bank, one of the things they always do is they shout, and sometimes they'll shoot into the ceiling. And what happens is you go into a fight or flight response, and you get tunnel vision. Like if you're in the bank, I'm not saying I'm a bank robber, but if you're in the bank, you start looking at the threat, and you don't look at anything. And it meant Sam could often be standing there. They wouldn't even see anyone filming because they're so distracted by what this thing is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that we thought that through at the time.
No, I get
But I've
you,
now realised that's why that happens. And stuff.
Yeah. And you guys meeting, you told me the story.
Yeah.
When I came and did the final show.
Oh, it's crazy. The final show, yeah.
But please, I know you said you've done it on a podcast before, but it's such a good story. You guys meeting, you were at the pub discussing Trigger Happy.
Well, no, it wasn't even that.
Sam worked in the pub.
No, it wasn't even that. Yeah, Sam worked in the pub. I'd got to Paramount Comedy Channel, which was like a channel doing all sorts of showing American stuff, but it was allowing people, and there were lots of people working there at the time. Sacha Baron Cohen, Lee Francis, Peep Show people, Mighty Boosh. They were all doing little tiny things, and they'd put our stuff between the shows. And I was at the time still political, and I was harassing Peter Mandelson. I was onto that fucker early. And I was chasing New Labour, basically. I was chasing Tony Blair's Britain, and we were just taking the piss. And we were doing this stuff. And the guy that ran the advertising for this comedy channel thought, well, hang on, I'm paying money to advertise our channel as a funny thing, whereas this guy's doing funny stuff. So why don't we just pay him to do funny stuff that gets in the papers and has Paramount Comedy Channel attached? And so he did, and he said, look, I'll give you my advertising budget, which was no small thing. He said, would you be up for it? Just make sure you get us in the papers or news as much as possible with some Paramount branding. And I said, oh, yeah, 100%, because you never say no. And then I thought, how the fuck am I going to do that? Like, I haven't got, I can't, because at the time it was still just that It was just that fulcrum moment between if you wanted to film anything for telly, you had to have a big fucking camera with a 50-year-old union cameraman and a sound guy that wanted a coffee break and all that stuff. And I thought, I can't do that. This needs to be like fly on the wall, run.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I'm going to do it. And I went with my girlfriend to a pub called The Engineer in Primrose Hill. And I'm sitting there and I go, good news and bad news. I said, unbelievably, like this guy's giving me fucking 200 grand. You know, so the time was a serious amount of money to basically go and create havoc anywhere around Britain. But how am I going to do it? I need a team. Like, I need people to do it. And I noticed this guy behind the bar. He's literally he's sort of over drying the glasses, and he leans in and he goes, "I could do that." And I go, "What?" And he said, "I could do that." And I go, "What?" And then I realized he's been listening to what we're saying, and it's Sam. And he goes, "Oh, I'm a cameraman." And I said, "Really?" He goes, "Oh yeah, I'd love to do that." And I go, "Well, in that case, do you want to come to Paramount Comedy Channel on Monday morning? I'll introduce you to the production manager and we'll see if we work out." What I didn't know was Sam was a complete blagger like me. He'd never used a camera. He was an artist. But being Sam, he read the whole manual for this first camera. And he turned up on Monday morning. And then the other thing we have a very similar weird sense of humour. But also Sam and I complement each other because I have lots of ideas and then I get depressed. Whereas Sam just gets shit done.
Okay.
And so together things happen.
Yeah.
But we were so shit. I mean, no offense to Sam, but because we were binging it. So for instance, Sam found a thing. So we're like, sound. We don't need a sound guy. We'll just do it ourselves. So we buy a radio mic and Sam gets this thing called a beach box. I remember what it's called. So you plug that into the VX1000 and then you've got the radio mic there. It sounds fucking crucial to Trigger Happy. You want to hear what people are saying. We only find, as we're starting the second series of Trigger Happy, I think we hired a sound guy for a day. And he goes, "Why have you got the radio mic on this setting?" And I go, Sam goes, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Well, you've got it on a setting where it just expands until it hits." Basically, it was at the worst.
Sure.
So Trigger Happy was so punk. I'm saying punk, but
when
we didn't
did
know
the
what
phone come in and stuff? Was that really straight,
I hated the phone on every level, but the phone... No, but I did.
That's always the one, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was so useful because... So it happened. Sam and I were off... I think we'd had lunch somewhere. We were walking down Edgware Road and we saw... And I was probably a bit pissed, had a long lunch, and Sam always tells me not to say that, but it's completely true. And there's a mobile phone display stall, and outside it is this new phone. It was very cool. Not a Nokia phone. It was a Sony Mars bar. It was a very cool little phone. And they had a 3-foot display model of it. And I just saw it and I just picked it up. And basically I nicked it. We just ran off with it. So they say crime doesn't pay, but in this case, completely untrue. And we ran off with it, got on the bus. And I'm just, all of Trigger Happy is me trying to make Sam laugh. Yeah. So we're pissed and I'm just like, hello, I'm on the bus. And then we get off the bus in Oxford Circus. And there, being interviewed live is a young Jeremy Clarkson. Again, big part of my life.
No way.
And he's being interviewed. And so Sam's not filming. I just go up behind them in the back of the shot. And I'm like, hello, no, it's Jeremy Clarkson. He's a twat. And then I just laugh and run off.
Yeah.
So somewhere, like on some rushes, the germ of the joke is there. And we did it and it was stupid. And then we just went back to the office and we put it in the corner. It was like a war trophy. And it sat there for a year and a half. Because that was it, really. And then when we started making Trigger Happy, we suddenly thought, oh, that's a really good way of like interrupting everything I hate, like opera, theatre, anything poncy high culture. Yeah. So that's how it started. So then we brought it back out and started doing that. And I thought we need a ringtone. So we never had a ringtone in the actual thing. So basically we'd be in a restaurant. I'd see Sam at the top. He'd be filming down and I'd be getting all nervous. It would be in my bag. And I'd be like, here we go. Yeah. And then I'd go, okay, Sam. And he could hear me on a radio bar. I'd go, okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Sam would go, I go, you filming? He'd go, yeah. I go, you sure you're filming? Because I don't want to do this if you're not. And then I'd just go, hello, like that. Yeah. And then in the edit, we would put the ringtone on. And so the ringtone, I really wanted to be annoying. And there was a ringtone called Grand Valse. I fucking hated it. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I thought anyone that uses that is a cunt. So I thought this would, whatever else it would do, would just stop people using that. But between us filming that and it going out like 6 months later on telly, completely unbeknownst to us, Nokia arrive as the big players. And they, for some reason, decide that Grand Valse They buy it and they call it the Nokia tune, and it's the default ringtone on every new Nokia phone. So everyone always thinks I'm a Nokia guy. I had nothing to do with Nokia, but what was brilliant was that it meant that anyone that had a Nokia and didn't change their ringtone, that ringtone would go off and it would be like a subliminal ad for Trigger Happy.
That's amazing.
It was fucking amazing.
Yeah,
and I've told this story before, but the first time I realised shit had changed, the first show goes out on Friday, the 14th of January, 2000.
Yep.
And on Monday, I'm on a train. And I'm sitting on a train, I'm not even thinking about it, and that ringtone goes off. No one knows I'm on it. 3 people stand out on the train and go, hello, I'm on a train. I hadn't even done the hello, I'm on a train thing yet.
Yeah.
And that was the moment in my life. I just thought, fuck, shit has changed here. I don't know what the rules are.
God.
Yeah.
And did it become hard? Obviously, it became harder to do because everyone knows who you are.
I disagree. See, that's interesting again, because when we stopped doing Trigger Happy, people go, oh, well, you stopped because you're more recognisable. Actually, if anything, we got better at it because in the first series, no one knew who I was, but we were so bad at getting consents that we would lots of times we'd have. I mean, there's amazing stuff we filmed that we can never show. Okay. So didn't get consents. We got a lot better at getting consents. We'd start if we were going to film because we'd just busk everything, and then we got a bit more organised.
So how would you get consent? Like say with the one when you're driving around the thing with the tourists, would you have to get them to sign something afterwards?
Yeah. So with that, we already had the guy in the cart. And then we'd ask them to sign. But there were more difficult things, like we'd be driving around and I'd suddenly see a restaurant window and I think, all right, Sam, film this. And I'd go into the restaurant and there was one where we saw a bathroom display stall, in the window. There's a loo there. So I go, Sam, stop. I know what I'm going to do. And we'd literally think of it on the spot. And Sam would film, and I went in with a copy of The Sun, pulled my trousers down, just sat on the loo in the window. It wasn't high art at this stage, but what's great is the guy comes up and he goes, Can I help you? And I go, no, I'll be done in a minute, thank you. And the guy and you just think any normal person would go, get the fuck out of my... And he just goes, I don't know, and just walks off. So in that situation, actually, we then went in and the guy found it funny and let us sign. But we did things like that so many times. And actually, they just say, no, you can't do it. Because why would you sign that? So we got better at thinking, if we're going to do something in a restaurant, at least try and get a manager or the guy who owns it and says, are you a fan of Trigger Happy? And they go, yeah. They go, we'd like to do something in your restaurant. We don't want to tell you what it is, so no one knows. But it then meant when we went to get consent, we could say, well, we've spoken to your manager, and that made it easier. So we were a bit better at that.
Okay, yeah.
But I could spot people that knew who I was, like straight away. So I it was a big show. Like we got 5 million people watching, but that meant 55 million people weren't watching. So there was loads of people we could do it. I could have done it forever.
Yeah, and I suppose go to other countries where it's not been...
Well, you go to
North
other countries.
Korea, Trigger Happy.
Well, we did think about it. We were going to do. I wanted to go because all my whole life's about blagging free travel, which is why I became a travel writer. But we were going to go off to Morocco to do Trigger Happy, just because I love Morocco. But I just thought, what a weird place to do a hidden camera, and we had loads of weird jokes. And the day before we were flying to Morocco, the King of Morocco dies, and all of Morocco went into mourning for 3 months. Now, if we were Jackass, we'd have probably gone to Morocco anyway, been arrested, but it would have been great publicity. But I thought, no, I don't want to. I don't want to fuck with that.
What do you think of Jackass and stuff? It's obviously different to what you're doing, but
so Jackass is really interesting because Jackass is a merging of 3 things. It was of a Spike Lee thing, and Spike Lee came over, not Spike Lee. What? Spike Jonze. It was a merging of 3 things. Spike Jonze was kind of the surreal bit. You had what's his name? Johnny Knoxville was doing very early hidden camera stuff, and then you had the skate kind of kids, frat boy stuff.
Bam Margera.
Yeah, I hate frat boy shit for me. That's like, it's sort of tits and arse. We used to call it lowest hanging fruit. But Spike Jonze came over to England, saw the first Trigger Happy, and so there's an element of Jackass where they took the costume bit and did nick it, and I don't mind, and good for them, and they've turned it into this juggernaut. They were just much more organised than we were. Yeah. There were bits of Jackass, occasional bits I thought were great, but a lot of it to me was frat boy humour.
Which is shooting people in the cock with an air pistol.
Yeah, who hates that?
Dirty Sanchez was and that, even darker.
And that only appeals to 100, 200 million people. And who's interested in that? Frankly, Red. We were much more into niche, obscure comedy.
And with a live show, do you mind? Because when your tour starts is it September?
Yeah. So the tour. Well, so we did. So the reason Sam and I are back together is because we got back together the 25th anniversary to do 4 big shows, and that's all it was going to be, just as a kind of celebration.
Yeah.
One of them, just 100 meters from here, we sold out the Adelphi on the Strand.
Amazing.
And it was literally like the end of Spinal Tap. It was like we came out, we'd never really ended Trigger Happy in a good way. Sam went off to LA. It just sort of fizzled out.
Yeah.
And suddenly, 25 years later, we had this moment where we're on stage. We've worked out a way of turning Trigger Happy into a live show, which is difficult. We're showing clips. People are enjoying watching them as a sort of community, and they still make people laugh. But then I'm telling people what went wrong. Sam kept all the rushes, so we've got like outtakes and the very first thing we filmed, and we had dogs attacking people in the audience. It was a fucking great live show, and it's really fun. But we just thought it's all a bit nostalgia, and then we started filming new stuff. And the new stuff is fucking great. I think it's better than the original, but I would.
Okay, so that would be clips of...
Yeah. So originally it was just, the new stuff was only put in the last minute because I was promoting the shows and showing old clips.
Yeah.
And people go, oh yeah, that was great, but you couldn't do it now, you'd be stabbed. It's too woke. And I was like, really? And so we originally filmed stuff. We took 4 old characters like the traffic warden and just went to the same place we filmed it 25 years ago, exactly the same place, and did a slightly updated version of the same thing. And not only could you do it, and we weren't stabbed, sorry if that's a spoiler, but it was really funny. And then we just realised, fuck, why have I been avoiding the one thing I'm really good at for 25 years? And so we started filming, originally it was just 4 old characters, but now we got all these new characters. We got this
and
amazing...
so you show all that, and then you'll be talking to the audience and stuff.
Not all of that, because actually, so this is still a Trigger Happy 25th anniversary tour. So at the end of it, there is some new stuff that we're going to show, but that's leading to our new thing, which is called Mugwuffin. And Mugwuffin is all new. Okay. And I've got amazing characters. I've got the Crypto King of Dubai, who's my new favourite guy.
Clips are great.
He's a guy who basically went to Dubai once for 2 weeks, met Gary Lineker's brother, and now thinks he's a crypto dealer.
Yeah.
And basically drives around with a stuck-on Lamborghini on his Mini, and he's got a shitty watch, and he tries to pay everything in fake cryptocurrencies like Yacht Monkey and Cilantro. That's suddenly you just thought, well, this is not only funny in what we're doing, but it's kind of relevant. We've also got this character I love called a Bowie bore, because I am a Bowie bore. I fucking love David Bowie. I've got the Ziggy Stardust lightning thing, and basically we put up, Sam had these signs made saying, warning, Bowie bores operate in this area. And then we just went round Russell Square with me sitting down next to people with the Ziggy Stardust thing on and going, you're probably wondering what my top 100 Bowie songs are, right? And then and it's fucking great fun. It's just really good.
Where did you get tickets for your tour?
From my website.
Which is?
domjoly.tv, but it's Jolly with 1 L, and I know I'm not on TV anymore, but that I thought was better than getting .co.uk.
And we'll put it in the link. We'll put a link on the... So if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, there'll be a link in the description to this episode. It starts in September. And it's 100... It was... My big thing was it was a 100-date tour. And UK, are you going into Europe or... It's just UK. I really want to go somewhere else, but as it is, I'm just doing every street in the UK. Australia? But was Trigger Happy huge in Australia? Trigger Happy was huge everywhere. Yeah. So why don't you do Australia as well? Because no one's asked me. Yeah, but they just get in touch with the... Yeah, but you say that. Have you got a promoter? No, I don't think you understand how organised you are. You're sitting there going off doing Jimmy Kimmel or The Tonight Show or whatever it is. Which Jimmy was it? Fallon. Oh, fucking even better. Like... I just, everyone goes, you know what you should do? You should go and make a hidden camera movie and then do something in the States. And I go, yeah, I should do that, shouldn't I? Yeah. They think, oh, okay, fuck it, I'll make the call. You could have £100 million. Yeah. You know what you should do? You should become one of those billionaire fucking podcasters. Yeah. Listen, if anyone's watching this and you're in, let me name it, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, America, the Philippines, Yemen or Syria, I really, really want to tour your countries. Yeah. Honestly, thank you so much for coming on. I've had such a good time.